guys, welcome back to the 4 a.m. Talks podcast, and you are listening to Poems with Ramya Velu. I am super happy today to present you this brand new episode that I've been waiting for weeks together to come up with this new episode. So if you are someone who's listening to my episode for the first time, I would want you to go out there and check out my previous episode, the last episode that I did, because you will have to get a clear picture before you listen to this episode. So before we start, I would like to ask you, how are you? How has your week been? And how has your weekend been so far? And how well are you preparing for the future week that's going to come ahead? And I'll have to tell you that I have been quite stressed because I've been working a lot on my practicals and my semester is coming, and I'm so stressed and I'm just worried about a lot of things, and there's a lot of dramas that's coming up because there's a lot of group projects involved. So you can imagine how stressed I am, right? So before we start into this episode, I want to introduce you to the title of this poem. So the title of this poem is The Perfect Vicinity. So if you could try to understand what vicinity is, so vicinity is basically is an area, or you can say a neighborhood. So the imperfect vicinity here talks about the hostel. So as you all know, I introduced you to the main protagonist of this poem, and it is Daisy. Let's give it up for Daisy. Now, if you're wondering who Daisy is, Daisy could be you, Daisy could be your brother, Daisy could be your sister, Daisy could be anyone on this earth who is just living a life out there. So let's just give it up for Daisy. Whoever Daisy is, whatever you're going through, just know that some of us are still here to listen to you, and we are rooting for your betterment. So let's dive right into the poem. So as I said, like in the previous poem, Daisy was going through something that's horrible in the hostel. So we all knew that something had actually happened, and Daisy didn't feel that she belonged. Right now we are diving more into the hostel to understand why did she actually feel that she didn't belong to that one particular place that is the so-called hostel. So let's get into it. So the poem's title is The Perfect Vicinity, and I'm going to recite the poem now. The Perfect Vicinity. The hostel. Who said hostel dreams are best memories in everybody's lives? Honestly, not mine. By rotten luck, I lived an unproductive routine. From listening to annoying murmurs and senseless talks to experiencing erotic lesbian, I walked through tons of breakout emotions for a fact that my warden was a malicious woman trying to keep up with hatched job, brushing off the rationality. At the end of the day, I would integrate if I'm insane. As you all know, that Daisy was already feeling sad that she couldn't see herself fit into the environment. Now, most of us feel that, hostel has one of the best places that anyone could live in. It idealizes something like the best memories, the best friends, you have the best roommates, you do all the things that is best because you are away from your home. But how many of you go to that hostel and you feel that, oh my god, I can never do this. Can I go back home? I feel homesick, man. I like to go back home and eat what my mother made, and I would like to sleep on my bed rather than on this bed that I don't feel that it is my bed. Now this is where Daisy is feeling. As we all know, Daisy went to a far away place to study, and she gets into a hostel because she has to live in a hostel because she can't go back home after the college ends because it's too far away. And she feels that it is an unproductive routine for her to stay in hostel. Daisy has these two roommates who are very, very different, who are very, very insensitive towards certain things that Daisy feels very uncomfortable to stay along with them. That's why she says it's an unproductive routine. Imagine you share your room with these two people. Right now, some of you have your own bedrooms, right? You have your own room, and I'm sure most of you are flexing your rooms by putting on this BTS posters if you're an army, or you are posting, you have posted like Kobe Bryant's picture, or you have posted Michael Jordan's picture, or you have painted something that's beautiful. Now imagine that you are not supposed to put all these stuffs because you just can't do it, because your roommates think that it's too childish for you to do that, or they just keep talking about the random stuff that you don't want to talk about, and they keep gossiping, they keep complaining, they keep cribbing about the stuff that you don't want to do. How would you live in such a place? That would be so frustrating for you, right? If you don't have someone who have a mindset that's exactly like you. Imagine you live in a hostel and you feel very comfortable because you are very comfortable around women, and that women try to bring you down by abusing you sexually. Today we live in a world where everybody talks about how a man puts his hand, in the wrong places of a woman and touches women in the wrong places, and she feels very weird about it. Now imagine a woman doing to another woman. How affected would you get? And that's what Daisy is going through. Daisy can feel people touching her in wrong places, and she's been shut because she doesn't know how to react or how to respond to that particular situation. Now, do you think after listening to all of this, would you agree that hostel is a best place to live in, or it creates a best memory for someone who is living like this, like Daisy? Imagine you have a warden. I mean, every hostels would have a warden. If there's a head warden, there's a sub warden. There are so many other people involved in, living in a hostel. There are people that you'll have to deal with. And this one particular hostel warden is not a person who really understands, who is getting what you're trying to say, and who is understanding from where you come from what kind of a place you come from, how education is important to you. Imagine they are being a barricade for you to study and excel in your academics. They don't understand the academic validation that Daisy is going through. Rather, they let Daisy down. They feel Daisy is a kind of a weird child in that fucking hostel. I'm so sorry for using the profanity, but that's how most of the people differentiate other people. We don't really understand what the other person is going through. We don't really accept, and we don't really come to an understanding that people have different kind of validation seeking in this society. For some of the people, education is not a big deal. But for some people, they live for academics. How some people like to dance and they love to excel in dance, and they practice to go and perform in that one final stage. That's how other people like Daisy study hard and hard, day and night, to go and perform in that final examination to get good grades. Now that's where we need to understand boundaries. Not everybody is doing this, but somebody is trying to do something to excel in life, and we need to acknowledge it, and we need to set ourselves apart from it, and we need to appreciate those individuals, and whatever it is, we need to support them. How your mother supports you when you go to a singing competition. She comes and sits in the front table, or she prepares you some kind of, a good meal before you go for the performance. And that's how some people seek for validation. And academic validation is you can just stay quiet. You can just stay quiet. You don't have to do anything. Let them use that room for a while. And imagine your warden doesn't understand this, and she talks back, and she, lets down, and she provokes infinity, and she makes it weird for Daisy to live in that hostel. Now, how bad could this hostel life get into? I'm sure most of you who are listening to my podcast now, if you have lived in a hostel, try to recollect your memories and go back there once where you were so annoyed. Where you were so annoyed by certain set of people. Where you felt, oh my God, what have I signed up for? Don't I have time for myself? And I think most of the people who join these hostels are basically in the period of emerging adulthood. They are neither adolescents or neither a well-grown adult to make decisions or to take up responsibilities or to understand where the differences lie in. All of them are very naive. They're very naive, and they believe that they have seen the world, but that is completely wrong. You are experiencing the world. You are seeing the world. Nobody comes to the light of that. Now that is very, very disappointing in today's society. I don't know how it works in other countries, but this is how it works in most of the countries. And I would like to tell a part of my hostel life. So I don't study in hostel anymore. I had to discontinue from a college, and I studied in a very strange college, in a very strange land, in a very strange hostel, and it was goddamn difficult for me to get adjusted. Because I found everything to be very different, because none of them were accurate for my principles, and I wouldn't agree to whatever they said because it was never in the list of my principles. And I am a person who seeks academic validation, and this is something that was very, very difficult for me to understand, and that's why I brought up this poem. And in this series I brought up Daisy, because Daisy is someone who's going through a lot. Now some of them, like me, I just quit because I really thought that it was not necessary for me to go through something that I don't deserve. But there are people who don't have the choice to quit and are yet struggling and striving hard in such bad places, around bad people. I wouldn't call them bad people, but I would say there are people who are immature to understand what life is. I don't know how many of you know this. People say that, hey, hostel is a fun place, but how many of you know that there are people who are capable of sexually abusing, sexually assaulting you in there, and you have no clue what's happening to you. You have tons of emotions that's running through all over your body. Now, you don't have to experience all of these to feel for it. Just imagine you being in that place. How weird and awkward can that get? And I simply bought this episode for people to understand that there are people who can understand them and who are empathizing with them, and they can reach out to people like us so that we can provide them a comfort and we can give them a honest warmth of love so that they feel a little bit of hope in this hopeless world. Just understand that if any one of you who's listening to my episode right now, if you are suffering like this, I repeat, if you are suffering anything like this and you are feeling disrespected, you are feeling that somebody is sexually assaulting you, or somebody is not letting you do what you want to do and they are being a hindrance of obstacle, don't forget to reach out. You can reach out to me as well. I've never said this, I would never wanted to get myself into this position, but I definitely feel what you're going through, and you can reach out to me and we will make sure that I will see what I can do for you. If I am any help, I would definitely do that for you. Now, in this episode, I want to make a confession that, life is gonna be very hard. Okay, life is gonna get hard when you move away from your family, when you move away from the place that's very similar to you. We think that we need to start life, especially for the emerging adults. If you have started your college, you might wonder, why can't I go to that college that is away from home? No, don't do that. Some of you are very brave. Some of you are exceptional in this. Some of you are very brave. Some of you have had the experience of hostel. Some of you don't. And if you can't fit in, if you feel that you don't belong, just understand that it's okay to feel that you are not alone in this. Many people feel like you, and you need to get out of that place. And life never becomes easy when you get out of your house. But that's where, life begins, when you start feeling uncomfortability. These experiences that you're feeling right now shapes you as who you are. And if you can understand and fix and sort your stress in this kind of emotions and feelings that you're going through, is great. But if you can't, you need to understand that you need to stop and you need to get out of that place to find a better place for you. And this is going to work out. Trust me. If you're quitting, it doesn't mean that you are a loser, you are a failure. No. You just quit it because that is what it is meant to be, and it is letting you to go to a better place with a better ideologies rather than sticking on to the bad vibes and negative energies surrounding you. Don't let people take over your comfort zone, which is not good. There are many things, like today's world, there is a lot of quotes that says, you need to get out of your comfort zone to, understand, where you need to improve. But it doesn't really mean that you need to put yourself through all of these and drain your energy and drain your emotional balance, drain your social balance to experience such kind of experiences. You definitely don't have to do that. So today's thing is, get out if you want to, and let's pray for Daisy. Let's see what Daisy has to tell us in the next upcoming poems. And I'm so proud of her that I'm empowering Daisy. And if you are someone who's Daisy, text us or DM us or mail us through any kind of a platform, and we are available. And especially I want to say that I can extend my hands to help you out from the hostile clumsiness that's happening with you. With this, we are coming to the flag end of our show, and I am so happy that we have come so far. Thank you so much for listening to my episodes. Please recommend me what sort of topics or what sort of themes would you like to listen to through my poems. And if it is sadness, I will be really happy because I really love sadness. We really need to embrace sadness like happiness because they are the same in the two different ways. So with this, I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great week ahead, guys, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, and let's become a mentally sound individual very soon. And this is Ramya signing off.